But self-belief was enormous. I think we should really, each one of us should really read about them, think about what they did. Their pictures will also come up. You can see their eyes. So, we've all read the story, right? I think when he did his work on Raman scattering, he knew. He didn't pack his bags 1 year before that. He knew that it was Nobel Prize level work. So it's not that he didn't know it, he didn't know what he was doing, and he made his own instrument, and I'll come back to this again. This instrument was made by him and his team in Calcutta, and so we must remember this. This happened in the early years of the previous century. Another person from Calcutta, Acharya Bose, he not only did the first wireless transmission, we all now know it's the first. It was not Marconi who was the first, but of course he didn't get the credit for it, but it doesn't matter. And but he also built an instrument, which you can go and see there, called the crescograph, which incidentally, Kamakoti, the instrument has 25 nanometer resolution. Okay, and we all sweat when we hear about 28 nanometers in semiconductors. How will we do it? Okay, it's not the same thing. I'm not claiming it, but this instrument, it measures plant growth down to 25 nanometers resolution. And he made these instruments himself. If you go to his house in Calcutta, you will see he apparently hired one of the best machinists. And every day he would review his work at noon. That person was so important for his research, not just the physicists, the machinist. And he made these in his own. Now we can't do that now. Today's instruments are very complicated, but today you can get the parts from all over the world because you have the e-commerce. But we have to make instruments, and I'll come back to this again. Okay, so there was, if you go and see the wireless transmission, there was jugaad also there. He didn't have a polarizer, so he built one by putting metal sheets between the railway timetable. But on the other hand, he also built absolutely cutting-edge instruments. Okay, this gentleman, he didn't take up any also-ran problem. He was looking at the distribution of prime numbers, even when he sent his first paper to the journal. That's the point I'm making. They didn't take any small problem saying, let's start here, let's see what happens. Okay? It's not as if everything ended. And one of the things that I used to wonder about, why did everything end by 1930, 40? Well, it didn't actually. G.N. Ramchandran was doing very similar level work with similar audacious goals, with similar self-belief, though he didn't get the Nobel Prize also for some reason, right up to the 70s and 80s. It's not that it was not happening after that. Okay, it happened less after that for some reason, but it happened. And it's right across the road. If you come to technology, again, this in the 70s and 80s we built this at RRCat in Indore. We built this particle accelerators and so on. This is all you can build. It's all built here. Even BARC has stopped that focus on building instruments. Okay. This worries me. I want to raise this. I don't say worries me. Who am I to worry about it? I just want to raise this and all of us think about it. Of course, these were the people who the many people, but the people who actually had the audacity to say we will do this. Okay. I'm not talking here about the nuclear part of the work. That's also important. This is just building instruments. Okay. Complex instruments, knowing everything that goes into it, not just placing an order for it. Same thing in the space segment, right? So, von Braun actually told this group, don't do it, right? You don't have the industrial or military capacity to do it, which is absolutely correct statement. So that way, the reviewers who told us that in quantum computing, we really can't hope to be among the world's top groups, we should listen to that, but not necessarily swallow that hook, line, and sinker. Okay? This is what von Braun told these people. But where would we be today if they hadn't pursued it? Right? Not only in space technology. See, we may not, NASA itself and certainly ISRO is not competitive with Musk's really, cost effective and high speed. High speed, I mean speed of turnover and so on. Turnaround may not be, but they know exactly what's going on in every piece of the equipment. They know what has to be done in the next 5 years. I think that depth of understanding is very important. Okay, and around the same period, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, we didn't do it in semiconductors. We may not have built the best fab, we may not be competitive, but we would have known what goes on in the lithography, in the etching machine, what goes on in the what goes on in the physics there, what goes on in the metrology here. Today, even if you set up a fab, it will all be a black box and you're punching buttons. You won't know what's going on in there. There are only 5 companies in the world that know what's going on in there. It's not a good situation. Okay, but this is the point that we are, and right, on the right side there is, of course, the state-of-the-art semi-cryogenic engine. So, and of course, this was also had national security implications. So, it's very important to think about these things. I'm just throwing this up for you all, for all of us to think about it and form our own views. So, we need to take a deep breath, think about that. It's been done before. Pursuit of his excellence, making global level world-class centers have been done before. Not just in once, many times, in many parts of the country. Not just by individuals, even by large groups. I'll give you examples, not just in science, but also in technology. Maybe no startups. Startups is a new phenomenon, but now we can add that. Okay? With very less resources and support systems. Funding has never been the constraint. And, you hear this statement even from others in many other pursuits of life, especially in the spiritual pursuits. They always say funding is never, you ask them, how do they do this? They say funding has never been a constraint. I used to always think they're making it up just to impress us. But it's not, it's actually true. And we ourselves are finding it in the institute. Now that we are, pursuing some of these things, these kinds of activities, not necessarily these centers of excellence, very seriously, we're actually seeing funding coming, chasing us. It's a fact. Okay? So, we need guts, we need audacity, but not foolhardiness. The bang to buck ratio in those examples I gave is very high. It's not as if I picked up only the successes and not told you the failures. The SLV3 also failed the first time, but the point is they were picking very carefully what they were going to do, and we must vigorously build instruments. And now you can add to that, collect primary data. You can collect data by building your own instruments. You can collect data by just using the world around you as instruments, whatever. But we need to do this. I mean, if you don't do one or both of these, I don't think we can really do cutting edge work. Because if you're going to buy an instrument and then somebody else who can buy the instrument with more money than you, faster than you, can do it better than you. And there are good people everywhere. It's not as if that we have a monopoly on that. So we really have to build instruments, modify instruments, and really know what's going on in every corner of the instrument. And we have to collect primary data. This is very important. We must succeed in this mission, not just because we have promised that we'll do it. We've taken a lot of money. Generally in IIT Madras, we take our promises seriously. But I think we also have to reinvigorate the quest that the pioneers in our country had. Some of the numbers have dwindled, the efforts have dwindled in that sense. Though the size of the efforts have become bigger, you don't see the same kind of audacity, you don't see the same kind of focus, you don't see the same kind of effort. So I think we must do this. We must do our little bit towards doing that. And that's what I hope this IOE program will take us to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful and thought-provoking message for all of us. I next invite Professor Raghu Rangaswamy, Dean Global Engagement, to please address the gathering on this momentous occasion.
Thank you all for being here. I also have a few the process and also what institutional support we are hoping that we can give these centers of excellence. This actually credit to Professor Bhaskar. These were disparate 68 proposals that were funded. He took all the time to put this into clusters, which are these 21 clusters. And the only thing that I want to mention here is you see the spread of research that's being done. Through this exercise, at least personally myself, I've been really privileged to see the best of work being done at IIT Madras and the spread of work that's being done at IIT Madras. So this just shows you that almost every field is covered here, and it's now how we take this forward and how far we can push these boundaries. Out of this, I just wanted to give you some statistics. It was a really hard work to pick the 15. We sent these proposals to the best in the field. For every one of these proposals, we spent a lot of time identifying who is absolutely the best and wrote to them and then said, would you review it? And if they didn't have the time, it was to the next person and so on. So we did send it to 198, received 76 reviews, and as Professor Bhaskar mentioned, some of them were real stalwarts. And again, the most interesting thing was some of them said, in fact, one reviewer said this group is underestimating themselves. The group had said we are about 8 in the world. He said, I think they're in the top 2, 3. I don't even know why they are saying this. So it was fantastic to see some of those. And then we had external panelists who came for these presentations the faculty groups made. And those were really tough. And, while it was a lot of hard work, it was really fun to also listen to all the questions and answers and so on. So just to give you an idea that while you do these things, we wanted to be transparent, we wanted to be fair, we wanted to follow the same process for every proposal. Nothing was pre-decided, everything was based on reviews. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that here. Out of all of that, we got these 15 centers of excellence, and you can read them here again. We hope all of these aspire to be among the best in the world, and each of these you'll see a video as we go forward in terms of what they have done, what they plan to do, and so on. I also have a list of other research groups and centers. I'm just going to quickly run through. I have the last 2 slides which are important. I just wanted to mention these here. My latest slide is not here. So this has happened before. So I will. So the one slide was about monitoring and deliverables, right? And while we do this, it's important that we monitor this, not to monitor our own colleagues, what they're doing and so on, but to give a feedback at correct intervals. So we're thinking about instituting a monitoring committee, which will meet once in 6 months to kind of review what is being done, and we will get back to you with what that mechanism is as we go forward. There are a set of deliverables also we are expecting for all of these centers of excellence, which will be in the letter that Professor Kamakoti gives you in terms of what we expect. Broadly, we will have a webinar series again, much like how we did during phase 1, where we would expect all of these 15 COEs to present to the wider audience, and our office will arrange this, and it will be really telecast to the whole world, and we'll try to get as many people as possible to come and listen to each of you and then understand what you're doing and build collaborations and so on. While sometimes I feel many faculty might disagree with me, but sometimes I feel money comes a lot more easily at IIT Madras than other places. And I still hear many people saying, I don't have enough, but I think there's a lot more money here than other places. But as Professor Bhaskar mentioned, I think many times that might not be enough. And I think the correct spirit is to think of this money as seed money, and then really look for leveraging this money to get 10 times the amount of money to do the best work that is possible. We have an office of alumni and corporate relations. There is a really good possibility of getting CSR money, industry funding, and so on. So we hope and we expect the centers of excellence to actually work with the ACR office and then really raise money so that we can up our game in all of this. That's the second deliverable. Of course, the other deliverables are really related to the papers, patents, and so on. And the way we have thought about this is each group might be oriented slightly differently. Some groups might be really focused on fundamental research, some groups might be focused on industry-facing work, and so on. So as we go forward, we would request, and we'll come back with how we will do this, each group to generate a rubric that they want to be evaluated on. So you could say, I want to be evaluated on the number of patents that come out, or number of high-impact journal papers that come out, or number of startups that comes out, and so on. And this monitoring committee will review based on the rubric that you have generated for yourself. So that's something that we will institute going forward. Okay. In terms of support from the institute, of course, the ACR office and our office is very happy to help with raising additional funding. We have also some very exciting programs. I'll just mention 3 of them, and I think collectively we should leverage those. We have a program called Young International Faculty. So we have a target of getting about 50 international faculty from around the world to spend time at IIT Madras. We could leverage that and get these faculty in the areas of IOE centers of excellence. So we will have to come up with ways to identify, and that's the best possible way to get the best of folks to come here. So that is one thing that our office will help with, and we would really request you to come and talk to us about how we can enable this, so that we hit this number 50 of the best people, not just a number, leveraging the centers of excellence that we have. The second thing is we also have this program called International Immersion Experience, which is where we send our graduate students abroad. Last year, we sent 50 of our graduate students to all over the world, and we want to increase that number. And we could again do that, leveraging the IOE COEs, and then say students working in these centers could find a way to go abroad for 3 to 6 months to enable them to see what is out there. And really sometimes seeing that you are as good as anyone outside is just as important as learning from others. So that's the second thing that we would really like to see. The third aspect is we have lots of universities which are talking to us about doing kind of research collaboration centers where you have a certain number of PhD students who work in those centers. So we could again leverage IOE to make relationships with the best universities, so that in each one of these there are about 15 to 20 PhD students who are pursuing research in those areas. So these are some of the initial ideas, and the only thing that I want to say is I think collectively we have to make this work. And any ideas you have, any suggestions you have to make this better, to let the institute know how you can be supported, please feel free to talk to us, and we'll be happy to help. So I'll stop here. Those were the last 2 slides, but thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, we now begin the ceremony to recognize and applaud the efforts of the 15 centers of excellence which have positioned IIT Madras on the world map as a global leader in research and innovation. A short video of each center of excellence will be played, after which the team belonging to that center, along with the co-PIs, will come forward to receive the award. I request the teams to please come to the dais from my left and exit from the right. Here is the video on the Center of Excellence in Technologies for Low Carbon and Lean Construction.
Concrete every year. Manufacturing of cement is a highly polluting process. The construction industry contributes nearly 20 to 30% of global CO2 emissions. Needless to say, it needs our immediate attention. Carbon footprint of a building can be impacted on 4 aspects: building design, construction material, construction process, and operations. While there's a lot of focus around the world on the first and fourth aspect, second and third are the ones that we are trying to address in this COE. We consume 25 billion tons of concrete every year. Manufacturing of cement is a highly polluting process. We are working on reducing its carbon footprint by using the biomass generated ash in its manufacturing. Another way is to extract the aggregate by recycling the concrete generated from demolition. This avoids further extraction from natural sources which are already depleted. Construction processes use a lot of equipment and machinery and thus have a high carbon footprint. We are working on AI-enabled process re-engineering to bring it down. Another way that we are trying to achieve this is by using technologies like digitalization, robotics, and 3D printing. While these works have been in progress for more than a decade, This COE aims at amalgamating these individual pieces into a holistic approach and creating an ecosystem around it.
I now invite the team from the Center of Excellence in Technologies for Low Carbon and Lean Construction to receive their award letter. Let us next watch a video on the Center of Excellence for studying critical transitions in complex systems.
Flooding due to extreme precipitation, landfall of cyclones, or the disastrous cacophony in rocket engines. These are some catastrophes where a system initially in a blissful chaotic state transitions to a disastrous periodic state. Why do systems so unrelated exhibit similar dynamical transitions? We ask and strive to answer such questions at our Center of Excellence for Critical Transitions in Complex Systems. We invest in finding the commonalities in critical transitions in diverse systems and in providing technologies that enable critical intervention. We wonder how a minuscule fluctuation can alter the fate of the system. With meticulous experiments and using advanced tools from complex systems theory and dynamical systems theory, we unravel the unity in the functioning, structure, and emergent dynamics of diverse complex systems. We ask questions that matter and strive to provide solutions that make a difference.
I now invite the team from the Center of Excellence for studying critical transitions in complex systems to receive their award letter. Up next, we have a video on the Center of Excellence in NDE 5.0, Industrial Assets and Process Management.
Whenever our body has some ailment, so we go to a doctor and the doctor says get an ultrasound done or get an X-ray done. Very similar to human bodies, we also see that industrial assets, that could be a pipeline, it could be the airplane, railway, track, all of them actually behave like human bodies. They actually age. Their functionality reduces. Just like in a human body, if we are able to find a problem early, the industry actually saves money. They are far more safer, they are far more efficient, and more importantly, they continue to work with very limited shutdowns. I would say that we rank in the top 5 in the world today. Of course, we would like to take that from a top 5 to a top 1 or 2 over the next 5 years.
I invite the team from the Center of Excellence in NDE 5.0, Industrial Assets and Process Management to receive their award letter. Let us next watch a video on the Center of Excellence on Molecular Materials and Functions.
The Center of Excellence on Molecular Materials and Functions is a collective effort of 25 scientists from different parts of the world, including 8 from IIT Madras. The center has been put together to address some of the most intriguing problems of materials science. Materials are the building blocks of society. The fundamental building blocks of many of the solutions used in every sector are becoming molecules rather than atoms, which exhibit new properties useful for a sustainable world. The center will initially work on 2 important families of molecular materials: atomically precise metallic clusters and gas hydrate cages. Our studies will help create clusters of hundreds of kilodaltons and eventually megadaltons of mass. A new mass spectrometry facility has been established to achieve breakthroughs in reactivity, electrical transport, magnetism, water harvesting and energy storage. In gas hydrates, we will use hydrate cages as new molecular containers in which cryogenic chemistry can occur, having relevance to molecular evolution in space as well as gas storage and CO2 sequestration. To maximize technological relevance, industrial linkages will be strengthened for local and national development.
I invite the team from the Center of Excellence on Molecular Materials and Functions to receive their award letter. Here is the video on the Center of Excellence for Healthcare and Assistive Technologies.
In the academic area, there are 2 aspects. One is just producing numbers in terms of graduates, skilled people, etc. That's well taken care of. High-end research is an area where we really need to focus because that has a multiplier effect.
The fundamental challenge in healthcare technology is industry in India is very nascent. Translating an R&D into a product is a very long, sort of an arduous process.
The world benefits if more people work on a problem. And I want institutions like IIT Madras to be part of the solution, globally.
I invite the team from the Center of Excellence for Healthcare and Assistive Technologies to receive their award letter. Let us next watch a video on the Center of Excellence in Maritime Experiments to Maritime Experience.
India has a long coastline of about 8,000 kilometers, but we have much more to achieve in terms of maritime research globally. Our vision for this COE is for it to develop into a hub, a pivotal point for everything related to ocean engineering in the region as well as globally. Maritime experiments to maritime experience starts from research by running the simulations, followed by conducting large-scale experiments, and then translating this research into real-world industrial application. The research that we do in this COE is broadly around three themes: marine autonomy, experiments at large scale, and maritime digitalization. Our state-of-the-art research combined with one of the world's largest testing facilities that we are developing will help us achieve our vision of becoming a global maritime hub.
I invite the team from the Center of Excellence in Maritime Experiments to Maritime Experience to receive their award letter. Here is a video on the Center for Quantum Information, Communication and Computing.
Today we do weather forecasting on supercomputers. Now, even those supercomputers have their limitations.
Imagine a sphere. Your classical computer can access only the north pole and the south pole of the sphere. Your quantum computer can actually access all the points on the surface of the sphere. So you've gone from being able to access just 2 points to an infinity of points on the surface of the sphere, and this just has to do with the nature of quantum mechanics.
We have 4 different verticals: communication, computing, sensing and materials.
So one portion is like about developing the quantum algorithms. Second one is to utilize this new quantum system that we recently obtained from IBM, which is having 400 qubits.
We look at the center more as a nodal seed center where we have incubators, we have industry partners, we have academic partners. Whether I'm talking about the Chennai port or I'm talking about protein folding, problems where the data sets are extremely large and the feature sets are also large is something that quantum computing promises to us.
I invite the team from the Center of Excellence for Quantum Information, Communication and Computing to receive their award letter. Let us watch a video on the Center of Excellence in Sports Science and Analytics.
Indian athletes are extremely capable, hardworking, talented. So we want to develop the best lab where athletes can come, get themselves measured up, maybe some flaws corrected, being in a sport agnostic fashion, and develop themselves using technology. want to be wherever Indian sport needs us. So in the last 2 to 3 years, we've built partnerships with practically every big sporting organization in India. Our way forward is to now leverage that trust to really build products and systems that can help athletes, and we are fully committed to that for the next year or two.
I invite the team from the Center of Excellence in Sports Science and Analytics to receive the award letter. Let us watch a video on the Center of Excellence in Soft and Biological Matter.
Soft materials are those that can be easily deformed, and the more quantitatively we understand their behavior, the better we can find their applications all the way from food science to agriculture to healthcare. The 4 focus areas for our Center of Excellence are: studying evaporation-driven self-assembly that has many applications including in disease diagnostics. 2. Developing truly portable lab-on-chip devices that can make healthcare accessible even in remote areas. 3. Applying soft matter principles for the detection of food adulteration in an affordable manner and efficient delivery of active ingredients to plants. And 4. Developing sophisticated